أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونستهديه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فهو المهتد ومن يضلل فلن تجد له وليا مرشدا. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. أدى الأمانة وبلغ الرسالة ونصح الأمة وتركها على المحجة البيضاء، فصلاة الله وسلامه عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم أجمعين. يا أيها الذين آمنوا يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. What happened to the Muslims? I am not a speaker. I don't give lectures. I'm one among you. But it has come to us that we are so backwards in our understanding. We do not know the common rules about Islam, the common sense, the known from Islam by necessity, المعلوم من الدين بالضرورة, that ignorance does not help us if we do not know the basic rule about Islam. Certain rules, you could count them on your hands, that any Muslim who calls himself a Muslim should know. I'm no different than any of you. I'm not even properly in front of some people's eyes that I'm not wearing the proper attire for giving the khutbah. I don't have the kufi. But we're all Muslims in a situation where we have to give the khutbah. We have to wait 15 minutes because the speaker had an emergency. I mean, it's going to happen that we have people delayed from the khutbah. Each one of us should have the basic common understanding how to live his life as a Muslim. You need someone to take your hand and tell you how to pray. You do not need someone to tell you how to perform your siyam or zakah or any of the basic rules, the 5 pillars of Islam. You do not need somebody to tell you if the first line is not complete, you have to complete it first before you go to the next line. You do not need somebody to tell you close the gaps. These are basic rules. We all know it. You don't have to have a sheikh with a kufi. You don't have to have a sheikh with a big beard. Right? This way, when you're in a situation where you have a group of people, Muslims, and you need somebody to give a khutbah, we don't have to have this problem. Each one of us is able in his own household to give rules and educate his kids. It's the same thing. So the family, the group of people, the community, the ummah, starts from the household. I'm giving this advice for myself first, of course. Give the advice, explain to your kids the basic common rules from Islam. Very simple. Right? The father tells his son or his daughter, okay, in a situation you're going to happen in the future, you have to give the khutbah. What are you going to do? Of course you're going to have mistakes, but then you go to the books from the Quran and Sunnah. The Prophet ﷺ said, I came with the Quran and like it with it. The Quran and Sunnah. So the Sunnah explains the Quran. I'm not prepared to give a khutbah, but I have a story to share from the previous nations about how the shaitan works in deviant ways to reach us and try to deviate us from the path. It's about a people from Bani Israel. He's a pious person. The story explains the difference between a pious person who prays, a worshipper, and an alim. Probably most of you know it. It's about Barsisa. He's a worshipper. He's doing every worship there is under the sun that Allah gave it to him through the different people who give the education advice. Now this person, he's living alone, right? He does not give the education to somebody else. He just has the worship and he does it. And somehow it relates to my situation, in our situation right now. You have the knowledge, even if one rule that you know, it's an obligation on you to give it to whoever you have, family, friends, whatever that you have, right? رب حامل الفقه إلى من هو أفقه منه ورب حامل الفقه إلى من هو ليس بفقيه رب حامل الفقه من ليس بفقيه إلى من هو أفقه منه. In other words, you give the knowledge even if you're not a faqih, if you don't understand what you're carrying, you heard it the right way and you know it's authentic, you give it to somebody, maybe he will understand it, he will implement it. This is the obligation each one of us. This worshipper, Barsisa, he was living in an area, I don't know where it was, I don't remember where it was, but he's doing all his worshiping deeds. And he was living close by to 3 brothers and a sister. The 3 brothers were, Bani Israel also, it was written on them that they have to go to jihad all the time. They have to make, in the cause of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to spread the message. So they were going to jihad all the time, and they don't know where to leave the sister with. So they went to the worshipper, and they told him, can you take care of our sister while we're going to jihad? I didn't bring this story of my mind. I read it. Probably some of you read it. But it has, even if some authenticity is an issue, you just take the moral of the story. He said in the beginning, I don't know what to do. I mean, I can't. I'm worshiping. I'm doing my thing. Okay, just make sure that nobody attacks our sister when she's home alone. Okay, inshallah. So they go to jihad. Now Barsisa is worshiping, and then guess who knocks on the door, comes to him? The sister asked for some, sustenance, food, whatever it is. He said, no, don't worry about it. I'll give it to your doorstep. I'll leave it to your doorstep, the food. Just go back to your place. Now the shaitan tells him, well, okay, this is, what's going on. She's not an animal, she's a human being. Go give the food. I'm telling you the steps where the shaitan takes. You might understand it better than I do, but the steps the shaitan takes in order to have even the worshiper among us, if he has no small knowledge to implement what he understands, he's going to go fall a prey for this kind of deviation. So he goes, he leaves the food and the duster, and he says, knocks on the door, and the sister of the 3 brothers comes and opens the door and takes it. And he goes back to worship. Shaitan comes to him, tell him, listen, just, uns. She's a human being, the name of Anas, uns, is that you have to be social with, with your neighbor. Why don't you just talk to her behind the door? Shaitan, when he comes in the beginning, he's not going to tell you, go and just go, excuse my language, sleep with that woman and do something. He's going to tell you, go, talk to her nicely, She's not an animal, you have to be social to her. So he goes, he knocks on the door, how's everything? Is the food okay? Yes, fine, alhamdulillah. Okay, the first day went fine. Goes back to his worship, right? He's not reading what the situation is. He's not understanding, okay, in a situation like this, what should I do? Right? He's just worshiping. He doesn't even expand his knowledge. So the shaitan comes to him and says, listen, you can't just knock on the door and talk, do something else. Open the door this time, tell her to open the door. Give her the food with your hand. It's nothing wrong. It's not haram to give her the food in your hand. Right? Goes next day, gives her the food with her hands. She opens. She is also in need of discussion. Even though she's considered a Muslim at that time, because the people of Israel who worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they consider Muslim. She wants to talk. But she knows the rules that, he's a worshiper and I'm not married, so there's just some kind of limitation. To make the story short, at the end of the I don't know how many days, it happened that he fell on her and slept with her, right? Oh, he went back home and he's tried to, I have to ask Allah for forgiveness and all these things, right? The shaitan took step by step until he did the zina wal-'iyadhu billah. He goes back to his house trying to worship, closing the door. It's too late now, you close the door, you were talking to her before and you actually went to the house. La hawla wa quwwata illa billah. So what happens? I'm going to ask Allah for forgiveness. Now he doesn't even go understand what's the next step. Something he did an action. You have to, carry the consequences. You want to correct it, you have to make the tawbah the proper way by having the correct steps. The shaitan comes to him and says, what happens to the brothers when they come back and they find out that their sister is being, what's the word they use in this situation? She's not a virgin anymore, if you want to say it that way. Oh, don't worry, I'm not gonna, let's go somewhere else. I'll tell her to go somewhere else because there's attacks on people. People are attacking the village. Let's go somewhere else and live somewhere else. But before he goes there, the woman is pregnant now. La hawla la quwwata illa billah. What am I gonna do? It's a disaster. Look at the steps. Oh, you have to do something with the baby. What am I gonna do with the baby? No, I can't. Shaitan comes to him, makes it, the only way you could eliminate the situation is to do what? Eliminate them both. Kill the child and kill and the mother. This way the brother will come back. They will say what? Oh, the shaitan already has the solution. Oh, there was an attack on the village. People came and they killed the sister. And I buried her in that grave. Right? Look at the shaitan, how he makes everything simple to us. To understand, it's not a big deal. Okay, that's it. You covered your tracks. Nothing is happening. Sure enough, he did. The first thing was the talking, which is the haram, right? Socializing, which is haram in Islam, unless there are certain rules with it, right? And then, fornication. And then killing. And this is a worshipper. He is the most pious person at that time, right? He does this. The brothers come back. Where's our sister? You promised us to take care of her. At least you didn't do anything, but just make sure that there's no, there were people attacking the village. I couldn't do anything. I tried my best, but, they killed her and buried her in this grave. You think the shaitan, when he takes care of one person, deviating him, he's going to stop there and that's it. He's done. He's done for. His demise is soon for sure. No. He goes to the brothers and he has his ways to go to the brothers, explain to them, listen, you want to know what happened to your sister? This is the shaitan, because he has now this is his playground. He already was able to do one thing. Why not do the others and to the brothers to kill that worshipper? But the shaitan in his mind, he knows he doesn't want only the killing to happen. He wants something in his mind bigger than this. He doesn't want the person to have a chance for repentance. He doesn't want him to have to go to paradise if he repented the right way, or had the rules of hudud become on him. Right? He wants it to do more than this. He's a planet. He's been existing for how many millions of years before us. So he knows the game. He knows the whole thing. But Sisa now is in a totally destroyed stage. He doesn't know what to do. Anybody asks him a question, I don't know, I was here, I was worshiping, and then suddenly this, right? So he's a very sensitive situation right now. He's almost cracking up his what happened, because he wants to worship, he wants to repent to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but shaitan is not going to give him a chance. The shaitan goes in a dream to the brothers, the three brothers, and tell them, what your sister happened to her? This is what happened in the steps. This worshipper that you said he's a worshipper, that he's supposed to take care of your sister. This is what he did. He killed her and her son, her child. And this is the place where the burial is. And sure enough, in the morning before they go to the worshipper, Barsisa, and they go to the grave and they found out a sister and a child next to him. Their sister and child next to him. What happened? That's it. We take the worshipper Barsisa and we make sure that he's going to die a horrendous death. At that time, killing themselves because to repentance is part of the Jewish rules, of course, right? We all know the story of Musa and how they worship the calf. So the way to repent is to go back and kill themselves. In other words, the worshipper who did not worship the calf will kill the one who worshipped the calf. So there's no answering about it. That's it. It's dead. Barsisa now is like horrified. What am I going to do? You did all these mistakes and you're horrified just because of death? Make repentance. Do something. Shaitan comes to him, the only way I could save you is, I could save you. All you have to do, very simple thing. What's the big deal? Just bow to me. So the shaitan from the whole beginning to end, he just wants one thing. He was not going to let this guy go, the worshipper, because he doesn't have the knowledge except to bow to him at the end. But I'm a worshipper, I know there is one God. Yeah. Dude, you're going to be dying right now. Right? And mind you, the death at that time is not something simple like hanging or a bullet. Like sometimes they use weird ways of killing people. But in any case. So at the time that they're holding him and he's going to be held captive in order to be killed the next morning, he bows to him. Bows to the shaitan. So not only he did all the sins, you could count him, he now is associating partners with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so he made shirk. Next morning it comes, hey shaitan, where are you? And you helped me out all these times by thinking he helped him out. That's it. Exactly like what's going to happen in the Day of Judgment. The shaitan will say, all I said was whisper in your ears. I just told you what to do. You did it. I didn't force you. But he's alone now. Of course they killed him. Nobody could help him. And he died on Jahiliyyah, died on Kufr. We have to wake up. Okay, the issue about just worshiping in the mosque and coming 5 times a day and not sharing the knowledge how to steadfast in Islam is gone now. It's behind us, right? Now we have to find out if any situation something happens. The shaitan has a lot of millions of doors to come to us. And he's ready, willing, and able, and he's excited because he knows the more amount of people will join him in hellfire, the better it is for him. What we're going to do about it? Are we going to be just worshippers for the rest of our lives, trying to close the holes here, my place alone? Or are you going to share this knowledge that we have? Even one thing that you know that the Prophet ﷺ did it the proper way, just share it. It's not a problem. What's the worst that the person next to you is going to tell you? Either he tell you, Jazakallah khairan, or he looks at you funny, like, who are you to tell me? Right? No problem. But he's going to really do something to yourself. Your personality is going to be moved. No, a friend of mine, a brother of mine told me, just say what you have, the advice. Say the truth. Say the haqq. No matter what happens to the other person who's going to tell you, no matter how he's going to act to it, you did your part, provided you properly give it the right way. هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين فاستغفروه سبحانه. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونستهديه ونتوب إليه ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على عبدك ورسولك سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم أجمعين اللهم انصر الإسلام والمسلمين في كل مكان اللهم انصر المجاهدين في كل مكان يا أرحم الراحمين اللهم انصر من نصر دين محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم واجعلنا منهم واخذل من خذل دين محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم ولا تجعلنا منهم اللهم انصرنا يا أرحم الراحمين على الحق اللهم أرنا الحق حقا وارزقنا اتباعه وأرنا الباطل باطلا وارزقنا اجتنابه اللهم أنت المستعان وعليك البلاغ ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بك اللهم اهدنا فيمن هديت وعافنا فيمن عافيت وتولنا فيمن توليت وقنا واصرف عنا شر ما قضيت إنك تقضي بالحق ولا يقضى عليك إنه لا يذل من وليت أستغفرك اللهم ونستغفرك اللهم ونتوب إليك اللهم فارج الهم وكاشف الغم ومجيب دعوة المضطرين رحمن الدنيا والآخرة ورحيمهما أنت ترحمنا فارحمنا برحمة تغنني بها عن رحمة من سواك وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين وأقم الصلاة. Ubaidullah is here? No, Ubaidullah is here? So where's the brother who was Hafiz to the Quran?